Hi guys, it's Brian here. Making a little bit different video today. Wanted to do a video on the S Type R that I've got, and I guess you could call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. Please excuse my my mess up a garage. Really need to clean it up, but we kind of had a crazy storm here the last couple of days, and so I kind of had to throw everything together. Yeah, I just wanted to make a video on the car, what I like about it, some things that, or maybe I don't like so much about it, and, whether I'd recommend this car or not to you or anybody else. So let's get started. I guess I could start off by talking about what I do like, and then I'll tell you what I don't, and maybe give a little bit of info about the car and just kind of go from there. So without further ado, I guess I'll just kind of get started and tell you what I do like. First thing, as some of you probably know, this car is supercharged. It has a very, very, very nice 4.2 liter V8. Stock, these are rated at 400 horsepower at the crank. My car to the wheels when it was stock and I had it dynoed, it made 328 horsepower, and I want to say it was I don't know, I think it was in the 340s for torque. I'd have to look at the dyno graph to be exact, but that's what I'm remembering off the top of my head. So power, for a four-door sedan, it's not the smallest, but it is definitely smaller than my XJ. The car weighs 4,000 pounds, probably mainly due to the fact that it's got a lovely interior. Granted, it's a little dirty, but it's very nice, and it is, for its size, it's pretty spacious. These are the back seats. Now, granted, it looks a little cramped right now, but when you got passengers that scoot up a little bit, it's not so bad. And then trunk space also isn't bad. Only downside is you can't really fold down the rear seats, but it's a luxury car, so that kind of goes hand in hand. Car's pretty quick stock. I did a best of, I want to say it was 13.1 at 107 at Houston Raceway back in March of 2023. Stock in this thing. I think I even still had the same Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's that sit on the rear here. I know it's hard to see here. Let me see if I can turn on the light. They're a good tire. They're wrapped in 275, 35, 18s. That's pretty well the stock size, but it hooks up pretty good. These are quick cars. Another thing I like about them is they're pretty rare. I've done a little bit of digging on production numbers, and globally, especially for this year, there were I want to say 698 made in 2006. So production numbers are pretty low for the R, and specifically the S Type R. Something I also like about the car now is it's kind of a sleeper. It's a big four-door sedan that's got a here, and I'll even lower it, but this is factory Jaguar hood emblem, and so you get next to a Charger, Challenger, Mustang, or whatever, and they think, oh, well, that's just some old man's Jag. Well, if you take a look at that little R badge there, It's not just any old man's Jag. So, you know, that's something I like about it. It's kind of a sleeper. Granted, with if you do exhaust work like I have, it's not so much a sleeper anymore. So people kind of know something's up. But no, it's another thing I like about it. It's a sleeper. Also, if you look at these with a little bit higher mileage, mine had 60,000, and I got it for a heck of a steal. I bought it for $9,000. But you know, if you look at higher mileage S types, R's, you can probably find them for probably close to what I did. So you can get these for fairly reasonable. You know, so that's pretty well what I like about the car. It's a really good daily. It handles well. Now, I guess kind of getting to stuff I don't like so much. Really, the only downside about it, you know, if we're talking practicality-wise, and, you know, I mean, you know, let's be realistic here. This is a supercharged V8 four-door sedan, so gas mileage isn't going to be exactly the best. Around town, I average anywhere between, I'd say, you know, 14 to 18 in the city, and then on the highway, I'm usually well into the 20s if I'm taking it easy. I've managed, I think at the best I've done is 26 or 27, and I was using cruise control at 70 to 75 mile an hour. You know, here in Texas, people like to go pretty quick, so, you know, usually getting past, but that's okay. Except when it's not, but, you know, that's for later. Space in the back, I think I've kind of gone over. I mean, it's okay. It's not terrible, but, you know, if you're a larger individual and you're trying to sit back here, you know, I'll get back here, but I'm like 5'4". You know, leg room's not terrible, but this is with the driver's seat moved back all the way. And when I start up the car, it'll move up and everything. But if you're a larger person and you're sitting back here, your knee's going to hit the seat, and that's not going to be too comfortable. But headroom's aplenty back here, so you know there is that at least. But you know that's probably the other thing I don't like about it. And then the one thing I do kind of wish the car had from the factory, like some cars of the time period did, is a lot of cars had a limited slip differential. Granted, Jaguars didn't, but I think some other cars in the time period did. I don't think Mercedes did, but I know some did, or at least I think they did. I shouldn't say I know, but I think they did. You know, it's another kind of a downside, but there are workarounds. I've looked on the forums, and apparently there's a guy that's taken a Mustang GT, Ford Mustang GT, limited slip diff. I think it's the 8.0, and they did a conversion on their XKR, and they used axles from an S Type R actually, and they basically made a do-it-yourself limited slip diff for a couple $100. And then of course you can get a Quaif limited rear, you know, limited slip diff. But the trouble is that, especially if you're in the States, you know, you got to do shipping, and then you're talking about, especially if you want it like fully done up and everything, you're talking about several $1,000s. I think I was quoted probably close to $3 grand for that. So something to keep in mind, you know, but, car's a lot of fun. I certainly enjoy it. You can get these cheap. And, you know, as for if I'd recommend this to somebody, you know, if, fuel economy and, rear seat, leg room isn't a killer for you, and you don't mind if the seats don't fold down in the back, you know, and you aren't afraid to spend the extra money on premium, because this car requires it, and you'd be a fool not to put premium in this car. You know, I'd highly recommend this. I really, really do love this car. It's probably the most favorite car I've owned. I had a 370Z when I was in high school before, and that was a fun two-door car. But one thing I will say, that car was a base sport, and it was nowhere near as nice interior-wise or anything as this car. And so, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, it was something different, but this car is very much, well, I mean, this car is probably almost as fast, if not faster, than my Z was, and it's very comfortable. So, you know, if you're looking at some of these, or you're looking at an XJR, which is a little bit bigger and has the same supercharged 4.2 liter V8, depending on the year, you know, I'd highly recommend one of these. It's very much a sleeper. You know, you got your R badge here on the driver's side. You got your, and I know it's hard to make out, but there is R badging in the on the seats. And then another good way to tell is right here in the instrument cluster. Let's zoom in there. It's a supercharged, so that's a pretty easy way to tell. And then of course you've got your R badging here on the rear, and so, you know, it's a fantastic car, at least for me. I'm probably going to end up keeping this car as kind of a weekend toy, and just kind of take it out to the drag strip for fun, and I'll probably tinker with it some more and mod it some more. But I'd highly recommend this car, and I just thought I would make a little video on it, because you know, it's certainly enjoyable, and I've gotten a lot of questions about it, and it's gotten a fair amount of attention. And so, you know, if you're thinking about buying one of these, I'd certainly say certainly do it. But you know, if you're thinking about one of these, I will say, you know, I've had good experience with mine. The XJ I had before it, it had the same 4.2 liter V8 in it, but it was not supercharged. And that car, other than having to put coilovers on it because I got rid of the air suspension, which this car does not have. This car actually has something cooler than that, and it has adaptive Bilstein dampers. And so that's a little electronic thing that's connected to the shock, and it's got adaptive dampers. I know it's impossible basically to see, but it's got a little cool system called CATS. And so this doesn't have the air suspension. This has adaptive Bilstein dampers, but you know, it handles really well. But getting back onto track, my XJ, you know, other than having to do the coilovers on it and changing out a thermostat, I believe, you know, I didn't have to do much to that car. And that car, I want to say 50,000 miles in a year and a half of owning it. And that was basically all the maintenance I ever had to do with that car. And that was a high mileage car. I bought that car with 180,000 miles on it. And then it got totaled back in January of the January 12th of this year. And, you know, so it kind of sucked, but it gave me the opportunity to purchase this, and, you know, I love it. But I will say, you know, some things you do need to be prepared of if you buy this is You know, you want to delegate some more money for fuel for sure. You want to delegate money for maintenance in case things were to come up. My most recent service at Champion's Jaguar Service, and granted, I am fairly handy, but there are some things I do leave to the professionals, so to speak. You know, I want to say it was $1,200 because I had the transmission serviced, I had the pan replaced along with the bolts, and I had loads of other things done. I had some fuses replaced because one of the 12-volt outlets was out. I had brake fluid changed. I had rear pads replaced. I think I had you know, a whole bunch of other things replaced. I had a supercharger belt replaced, actually both drive belts, as well as I think a coolant hose. So, you know, I had a lot of work done. It was probably 12 or 13 things. I gave basically a list of the mechanic things I noticed on the car, and I just basically told them to, you know, whatever the price is, squared away, because I'm pretty detailed oriented, but, you know, it's just something to keep in mind. You know, you need to take care of these cars, but all the high mileage examples that I've seen and talked to people, you know, these cars will definitely take care of you. These 4.2 liter V8s are, I wouldn't call them indestructible. I mean, you can kill anything, especially if you run it low on oil. But 4.2 liter V8s are very, at least in the Jaguar community, very well known for being reliable. And then the transmission is a ZF 6-speed, which was in the BMWs and Mercedes of the time period as well. Which is why, I mean, was able to get the parts off FCP Euro for so cheap. I think I got the transmission pan, the fluid, the bolts, and electronic sleeve, all that good stuff for like 260 something bucks because they had a sale. So, you know, just thought I'd make a little video on it. I mean, we're going on nearly 18 minutes here, but just kind of wanted to be pretty thorough and detailed. So, you know, I'll kind of keep you guys updated on the car as I go about. Don't know how y'all will like this format, but just thought I'd do it, and I will certainly post more videos when I do some more mods to the car. I know I had posted the other intake not too terribly long ago that I had. I put the stock one back on just because the unit I got from Cal Doofy, who I will refrain from calling names, or Cal Doofus or anything of that sort, but I got this wonderful stainless steel little intake, right? And the trouble with it is, you know, it's a nice intake, little plug for the, this little dongle here. It's hard to see, but if I point it out on camera, this little thing connects to the valve cover, and that connects to intake, so it's like a little breather thing. I mean, that's all very nice, but the trouble I had was the that stainless steel intake was just caused my intake temps to go way too high. I was looking at temps that were well into the 130s, just driving around in this wonderful Texas heat we got, at least 130s, 140s. So it was like 50 degrees above ambient, which to me was just unacceptable. I found the stock intake is better, and I'm looking at ordering a Banshee Screamer intake. Shout out Joel, you're the man. But yeah, just thought I'd make a little video on this car, and if y'all have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments, as I would certainly be happy to answer them. All right, y'all have a good day, and I will talk to you later.